Hey everyone! We're about to level up a skill we use literally every single day. Telling stories. You know, when you're sharing what a friend said or what happened in class? Well, today we're going to learn how to do it perfectly. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Your friend tells you some amazing news and you just have to run and tell your mom or dad. Well, the way you do that, it actually follows a few really simple rules. And today, we are going to become pros at it. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out what reported speech even means. Then, I'll share 3 golden rules that make everything super easy. We'll take a little trip through time with verb tenses, handle some special words and commands, and finally, I'll show you a really cool trick for things that are always true. You ready? Let's do this. All right, first up, when you want to tell someone what another person said, you've basically got 2 options. You can either use their exact word-for-word quote, or you can tell the story in your own words. Check this out. On the left, we have direct speech. See those quotation marks? That means we're using Peter's exact words. I will give you the file. But now look at the right side. That's indirect speech. We're telling the story. So notice how I changes to he and will changes to would? We're not quoting anymore, we're reporting. And that's all reported speech is. It sounds fancy, but really, it's just another name for indirect speech. Just think of yourself as a news reporter, sharing what happened. See? Simple. So, how do we make these changes from direct to indirect? Well, it's easy. You just need to remember 3 golden rules. Think of this as your secret code for telling amazing stories. And here they are. Rule 1, change the pronouns, like I and you to match who you're talking about. Rule 2, update words about time and place, like today or here. And rule 3, this is the big one. We shift the verb tense 1 step back in time. Let's break each one down. Okay, rule number 1. Look at this. When she spoke, she said, I work in an office. But when we tell the story, we're talking about her, right? So I naturally has to become she. It's all about switching your point of view. Now, for rule number 2, time and place. And this just makes sense, If your friend says, let's meet here now, and you tell your brother about it later, now is already in the past. So now becomes then. Today becomes that day. And here becomes there. You're just updating the details so the story makes sense. All right, let's get to the most important rule of all, changing the verb tense. This is where the real magic happens. When we report what someone said, it's like we're taking a little step back in time, kind of like a mini time machine for our words. Look how simple the pattern is here. If someone says something in the present tense, we just report it using the past tense. So write becomes wrote, something happening right now, like am working, becomes was working, and has finished becomes had finished. See that? Every verb just takes one little step backwards. And get this, it even works for the past and future. So if the original sentence was already in the past, like went, we take it one more step back to had gone. And for the future, it's even easier. The word will almost always just changes to would. Okay, but what if someone isn't just saying something? What if they're telling you to do something, like do your homework? Or they use those special helping words like can or must? Well, there are rules for those too. Let's check them out. So when we report a command or a request, we can actually upgrade our reporting verb. Instead of just saying the teacher said, we can use a much better word like advised or ordered or even requested. It just makes your storytelling way more clear and a lot more interesting. And those special helping words, they also follow our main rule. They just take a step back into the past. So can becomes could, may becomes might, and must, that one usually becomes had to. Okay, so you know the rules now. you're pretty much an expert. But now it's time to learn the one big exception. There's a special case where you absolutely do not change the tense, and this is a really important trick to know.
So let me ask you this. What if someone says something that is always true? You know, like a scientific fact. For example, the sky is blue. If we report that, do we still push the verb into the past and say, he said the sky was blue? What do you think? And the answer is nope. We don't change it. For universal truths, facts that are always, always true, we leave the tense exactly as it is. The sun always rises in the east, right? It's a timeless truth. So the verb rises stays rises. This is the one and only time we get to break our time travel rule.
So there we have it. It all boils down to this. To retell a story, you change the pronouns, you update the time words, and you take the verb one step into the past. Unless you're talking about a timeless, universal truth. And just like that, you are now a master of reported speech. You have the secret formula for sharing any conversation or any story you want. So, I have one question for you. Whose story are you going to retell first? Go try it out. Thanks for hanging out with me today.